Okay, so using our cotton bud, we're just going to dip in. We're going to just apply it to the heatsink. Okay, if it's still quite stubborn, then what we can use is our toothpick. It's a blunt toothpick, just to remove any excess residue. So then using some kitchen paper or toilet paper, just remove the old compound. Same for this one. So you can see it's nice and clean. Now to finish off, we're going to use some isopropanol. So just spray some onto a bit of tissue and just clean. This just removes any excess grease or bits of dirt that are still there. Okay, so now that we've cleaned the heat sinks, we need to clean the residue compound on the three processors, the CPU and the graphics processor. There's two on the graphics processor. So again, using a thermal compound remover and a cotton bud, simply apply some solution onto the chips. Okay, so we can see the chips are now clean. We're just going to finish off using some isopropanol. Again, just to get rid of any grease that may be on your fingers or any small bits of dirt. It's very important to get the processors as clean as possible. Okay, so now you can see we have a mirror-like finish on all of the processors. Okay, so now that the old thermal compound has been removed, we're going to replace it with Arctic Silver 5 This is the most recommended thermal compound due to its high conductivity. The idea of this fix is to draw heat away from the processors, and this is the best thermal compound to use. Okay, so we're going to apply our Arctic Silver 5 onto each of the processors. So we only want a small blob on each of the processors, nothing larger than a large grain of rice. Okay, now once we have applied some Arctic Silver 5 to each of the processors, I use a small paintbrush just to distribute the compound evenly over each of the processors. Okay, so once we've distributed the compound using our paintbrush, we're now going to try and get this layer as thin and as even as possible. This is very important. Using too much compound will result in not drawing heat away from the processors. The thinner the layer, the better the fix will be. So to do this, we're going to use just a plastic card. An old bank card or driver's license would be fine, or anything else that you can find. So what we're going to do is we're going to place the card over the chips and just scrape away. This should leave a very thin layer of compound over each of the processors. Okay, just wipe off any residue that's left on the card, and you can see just around the edges where the card's gone, you can see some silver. So all we're going to do is use our paintbrush and literally just touch these up. Okay, so now you can see that there's a very thin layer on each of the processors. Remember, as thin as possible.